All right, it's Friday night. It's 6:25 p.m. and I'm on a fucking Zoom call with you because Spartan likes to release things either through meme or on accident, right?
Yep, absolutely. It's like the slow leak of things, like it's the worst possible time. So much for a nice, easy holiday weekend.
So, hang on, let me close this app because I'm getting lots of beeping from the Discord, which you need to join, by the way. You need to join the Discord. It's a lot of fun. Didn't Josh tell you about it? It's been less than an hour since we posted, and there's already over 100 something comments between Instagram and Facebook. People, of course, are super opinionated. What are your first thoughts about this?
I mean, personally, I do better at shorter distances. So if they're going to hack off 2 miles from the super and make it a 10K, that's better for me. I think that for the average racer, like a 5K sprint, that's going to be over really fast. Good introductory level. But I think that with the former system that we had with the old sprints and the old supers and the old beasts, you had like 4 miles of distance between each different tier. You had sprint 4 to 5 normally.
Right.
Super was like 8 to 10, and then the beast was like 12 to 17. It just kind of depended. So the jumping off point in between distances was much closer as opposed to 3 to 6 to 12. So you've doubled the distance on each category. So, I mean, that's a huge difference in terms of training for a 10K obstacle course race as opposed to a 21K. The much different, like it's a different level of fatigue on your body.
Well, so their perspective is obviously, and, he flat out said it, like, people around the world understand these distances. Here's a 5K race, here's a 10K race, here's a half marathon. However, I'm not so sure that means you have to do it for Spartan, meaning you sign up for a Spartan and your friend tells you, I don't know, I think it's 3 miles or 5 miles or 6, or you just go and do it. And then if you kind of get bit by the bug and you're interested, you do look into it and you go, oh, the super one is longer and harder than the beast is the really hard one. Like, it's not like they're not signing up because of it. Now, on the other hand, Tough Mudder called their Tough Mudder half the Tough Mudder half, and I think that was confusing because people think half marathon, but I think the opposite isn't true in this case, where
it's half of the regular Tough Mudder.
It's not necessarily. I'm saying that it might work, but it might not make a difference, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think in terms of a marketing standpoint, I see the validity of their argument, but in terms of like, if they're like, and listen to David Watson talk, it's like, well, people want to know what a time is, like the road runners, like, what was your time in that 10K? Like, well, you can't do that. Like, because a 10K, a super in Seattle is going to be totally different than a super in like Wintergreen, Virginia. You can't compare one or the other. And if you like understand that, then that's fine. But if you're trying to appeal to a fresh new demographic, I mean, just it's a distance. Like, what you're going to expect. Like, you kind of know what the miles are. Okay, this is going to be a little bit longer. This is going to be shorter, and this is one of the longest options they have. I don't necessarily buy it, but I can see how they like are thinking about it from a marketing standpoint.
Well, I think that the standardization, like capital S, that people are so sort of torn on, like, oh, it's going to get too easy for the Olympics. That does make sense. You can't trick the average person into signing up for a 13-mile race, and they're looking at their little watch, and it ticks off 13, then 14, then 15. This is bullshit. I'm hungry. You know what I mean? Like, so going, hey, guys, from now on, a sprint's 3, a super is 8, and a beast is 13, maybe 14. Like, I get that part.
Yeah.
But this one, I'm not sure I get. I guess be a better race if we get the more obstacles per K thing, which everybody seems to complain about. So I guess it'll be a better race, but I think their thinking is flawed. That's just my sort of take on it.
I think so too. And like, I also like some of the discourse has been that, okay, well, if you're having a super amount of obstacles in like a shorter distance, you're going to have like less time running, more obstacles. And that could be like a lot of fun, but then you're essentially making the new supers like the old sprints. It's just like with an extra mile.
Yeah, right. That's a really good point.
Yeah, you like we're old school, so we're like, oh yeah, sprint 3+ miles, and it ends up being like 6 at some venues. It just kind of depends on who was the race director.
I feel like I never did one less than 5. Like, unless it was a stadium race, I never did one
Yeah,
less than 5.
yeah,
And I was fine with that because that's what you were doing.
exactly.
I love it, dude. If you've seen or watched my show, you've seen children come in and out of the frame a lot. So
Absolutely.
I totally get it. Hey, let's talk about this other thing. Okay.
Yeah.
First of
Standards.
all, she is adorable.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is your wife Asian?
Elite.
What's
She
that?
is not. She's not. My wife is very American, like
Okay.
very white. She is dark skin. Uh, uh, but she looks like pictures of me growing up. So I don't know. Like literally, if you're frozen or if I'm.
You're frozen.
Are we good?
You're frozen.
Oh,
You said your wife's very white, but she looks like pictures of you when you were little.
yes. My daughter looks like pictures of me when I was little. Like the
Okay.
genes are very strong. So I don't know. I'm half Hispanic. Literally no clue. Yeah.
Half Brombach? What the half Hispanic?
The cracker in my dad is very strong, very German. It like totally washed out the Hispanic gene.
Which is Broombach? What is that short for? Broom brother? What does that mean?
That's actually just German. It's I don't know anything really about it. I can't trace my lineage that far back on my father's side.
Okay. I thought every name in German means something.
It probably means hates long distance running. That's what I think.
So, by the way, okay, I have to acknowledge something. I meant to say this first, by the way. I appear to have been scooped, but by not one but 2 podcasts today. And here's what I want to say about that. I can't always be on my game every day. Once in a while, like Ryan Atkins gets caught up on that Gibbon thing and he loses to VJ, right? So what are you going to do?
It happens. I mean, I didn't even know until someone was playing. Who was it? Inside OCR was playing around on Athlink.
I said, where did you heard this? And you said Inside OCR. And I'm like, what is Inside OCR?
Exactly. Like, who are all these news media organizations that have popped up all of a sudden? Everyone's got a news media organization. All of it. Like, it's just like dime a dozen.
So anyway, kudos to Bracken and Benny, and kudos to OCR Audio. And he started to say, and then Bracken, rookie mistake, said, "Oh, can you tell us the rest, or would that be too soon?" He should have just said, "What are the rest?" Right?
Yep, he should have.
So anyhow, let's go through them. Do you remember what they were?
I remember only a few of them. It was top 5 in an age group placement. And I was like, okay, check. I got that. I'm always being like selfish, listening to all
like, okay, am I in or not?
am I elite or not? Like it's that old elite life thing.
So previous podium in elite, I think at one point he said top 10, but did he change that to top 5?
There's like it seems like it's still a moving target, like it's still in the works, and so they just got caught maybe kind of with their pants down a little bit on this one. Like
right.
Dropping the whole, you have to apply for an elite annual pass, and like, oh well, we may as well let some of this information out. But I know he said, like, I don't know if he committed to top 10 or top 5 in age group overall would bump you up to elite or give you that qualification. Definitely a past podium, but that your elite, like your pro card, I guess, since they're modeling it after Ironman and triathlon, is only good for like a year. So you have to keep that standard going if you want to keep getting your pro card.
So when he says it's not previous podium ever, or is it ever?
Oh, it's in the previous year, from my understanding of it.
Okay. So if you are a smart person, you are definitely going to cherry pick a few races, right? Like if you want to make sure to keep your, Bill is pointing to himself. So for example, I just posted in the Discord, which you're not in yet, that there's an Ocean City, Maryland sprint the week after Tahoe. It's a first time venue.
Podium poach.
Right? It's a first-time venue. Who the fuck is going to Maryland? It's not like it's some
Exactly.
destination race. If you want to snag an age group podium, or maybe even elite, dude, this might be the equivalent of your trail race. You could get on
Yes.
top, buddy.
That requires me to go to Ocean City, Maryland, which it sounds like a great vacation spot, but that's quite a haul from the Midwest. But I mean, I'm not above podium poaching, but at the same time, I'm the type of athlete that's showing up to the national championship races to see how I stack up against the top level talent. I'm not just like, circumventing those races and like, podium poaching all the like, oh, everyone's in West Virginia this year, this weekend. Let's go to West Point and see if I can get a podium.
Right. And if you're going to do that, at least acknowledge it, right? At least say, listen,
Exactly.
guys, I'm going out of my way to sneak into to West Point. So anyway, or if you're on the pro team. So if you're on the pro team and there are 200 people on the pro team,
Yeah.
it's not really that, right? Or maybe next year they'll have less. Maybe next year they'll have 100 pros. I don't know.
Who knows? Like I really can't tell. Like I get like some people who will ask me questions like, "Do you think that I could like maybe be pro team?" Like, yeah, you based on the model this year, but they change things up every year, so there's really no way to tell.
Well, I mean, I think the Bill is really doing some serious double duty here. He's
Oh my God.
he's taking her in and out of the swing. By the way, how old is your other child?
So my oldest is 8, and she literally like right before I called you, she left for a sleepover, and then my youngest, who I'm here with at the park, she's 2 years old.
Okay, so yeah, that it's just like they get older and you get different sets of problems. Not necessarily easier. Sometimes easier, not necessarily easier.
This one's very needy. The 2-year-old is very needy compared to the 8-year-old when she was the same age. It was like the first child was like autopilot. I was like, oh, this parenting thing is easy. Why is everyone complaining? This one comes along and like, oh, this is the penance that I have to pay for being an asshole as a child.
Right. That's been all my kids, by the way. None of my children were easy.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, and he did say, this idea of, hey, we want these other athletes to come from other disciplines, and what if they've never run a race before? And he said, yes, they must run a race first. And the second one, but then he said, well.
And then he walked it back and he's like, oh, yeah, well, I mean, like, yeah, we'll invite them to the World Championship. I like how Hunter got his qualification for the CrossFit Games.
Right.
So I was like, is it one or is it the other? Like, what is it? So in other words, if you're not like some big name athlete applying for like a wild card spot to the Spartan Race World Championship, then you have to go through the regular channels to race elite.
Right. Yeah, I think, time is going to tell, but I think that I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to see. And someone was like, well, hey, it's their first year, like trying this. I'm like, yeah, but it's year 9 of the sport. So
like, I applaud them for like finally
doing something.
Doing something to get these backpackers out of the elite heat that have no business being there. And, Emily Smith had a really good point yesterday. She's like, for the women, like there's not enough like competitiveness. Like there's,
right.
I mean, you want to like help build that side of the sport. And I fully agree. But at the same time, like my general philosophy is if you're in elite and you're getting passed by the wave behind you that you had a 15-minute head start or even 30, 1, 2, 3 miles into a race, you're in the wrong category. You should go down to age group.
And you might be someone who thinks you're fast, but you also might be someone who just needs to get back to a babysitter. And you're like, I know it's more money, but I'm going to sign up for this first heat. So that's who they're trying to get rid of, which I think that will work at least. Like a new person's going to go, they're going to say, hey, what's your code? And they're going to, oh, I guess I can't do that. I'm not. And it might fire somebody up who's like, hey, I'd like to do this. I'd like to make this, thing. What do I have to do to do it?
I think, it's definitely got me fired up, even though I swore off elite after this year. I was like, I'm a competitive age group athlete. I'm not competitive at elite. If I want to be competitive, I know what category I have to race in. But at the same time, now I'm like, well, I mean, do I want to have that pro card and just not utilize it? So I'm going to apply for it just like, see if I stack up, because it's still like what David Watson also said. It's not totally automated. It's not like an algorithm There's going to be a human element where they're going to review like your history of races the prior year. And there will be someone who either gives you a check mark, yes, you're elite, or you're denied your application. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are butthurt. They'll be butthurt whenever they get denied. But at the same time, when you're finishing like third to last in elite and still getting your elite qualification because you ran West Virginia, that's not something you should brag about on Instagram, because you could have walked the damn thing and still got your elite qualification there, because they changed the qualification standards so much. They watered them down, in my opinion, this year. They totally watered them down.
So you were the one who mentioned, and we shouted you out. I don't know if you heard that or not. Josh and I gave you credit for calling Spartan out on the what happened in roll down week. But then the emails did start coming. So what did happen in roll down week?
So I guess people thought for Utah, like roll down week was just like, hey, here you go, guys. Here's your spot. You're signed up. And then West Virginia, they did sign people up on location, which I was kind of surprised by that were there. And then they had roll down week. So if you did like well enough in your performance, and someone who otherwise qualified ahead of you, like didn't accept their spot in Tahoe, then it rolled down to you. So they did do that. I know Jacob had some concerns about the wording for the age group category. And I was just like, well, I mean, I'm going to get mine. I don't need a roll down to get my age group world championship qualification, so I don't really give a shit. But he never got a definitive answer from Spartan Race on if there was roll down for age group, but it seems like there was roll down for age group. But comparing like this year to last year it was so much harder to qualify for the world championship in elite and age group. And that presented the problem of they had empty waves for the world championship. Like there was hardly any in the world championship. And so then David Watson's like, oh, and we've beefed up how many people are in the age group and how many people are in the elite world championships. Like, yeah, because you watered down the qualification standards. You absolutely did. Like, I mean, and this is the point that I made on Bro Ciara when I saw people who were cheating at the Alabama race, and I was like, they're still showing up in the points. And all that matters is they could walk this in elite, finish dead last in every elite wave, go to 2 or 3 races and get enough points to qualify them for Tahoe. That's how much it was watered down this year.
So when he said age group is doubled, it's not because of more signups. It's because they made it easier.
They increased the number of registrations that qualified, or the number of placements.
Oh, what do you think about this pro race on Sunday business?
I'm okay with it. Because they get to like move it to a later time, because that lake swim kind of sucks dicks and it's cold as shit. And so if you can like maybe let the air temperature warm up by 2 hours, so that's like maybe like what, 2 to 4 degrees, it won't be as bad. I know it's going to like leave some of the top level talent who happen to be Mormon. They're not going to race on Sunday.
Right.
So they've kind of shit the bed on that regard. But
do you think Watson's theory of people will all stick around and cheer on the elites rather than go home?
Absolutely not. It's definitely not going to be the case. Like you weren't in West Virginia, Matt, and like when the elite males were done, that place was a ghost town. I've never seen a major race so empty. I was just like, there's nobody here. Like there's nobody. I went to like go like put my wet clothes in my car and go back and grab interviews. Like after I was done, I ran age group, so that's obviously 45 minutes after the elite men went off. Ghost town, absolute ghost town.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of that. Now I think that Tahoe's a little bit of a bigger deal, right? So I think some people do like to make a weekend out of it. He did.
Yeah. However,
we do need to ask him, because he said it was going to be a whole thing, like concerts and whatever. And we haven't heard anything about that. So I don't know if like, I'm trying to think of a country act.
I'm looking forward to Smash Mouth. Smash Mouth is going to be the opening act, like all-star, all weekend long. We're good to go.
Because that's who Spartan can afford, you mean?
Yeah, because that's why their Uncle Joe's been increasing the prices of the annual passes every year, because they need more money and they don't understand how economics works. That if you increase the price, people's willingness to pay goes down, and if they would just decrease the price, they would sell more annual passes. But that's just basic economics 101.
All right. Well, listen, let's back up a little bit here, okay? Because no, I'm being serious, okay? Because so here's like just basic sales, right? I'm selling a piece of pizza, right, for $5. selling a lot of it. Let's bump it to 6. I'm selling a lot of it. Bump it to 7. Okay, people stop buying. Let's drop it back down. Don't you think that's what they're doing every year with the season pass? People keep buying them, and they want to keep raising them until they get enough pushback.
Oh, there's absolutely, in terms of, it's where the willingness to pay meets the actual supply, because they limit the supply, which is so crazy because it's not like it's a perishable good, because they can just wave a wand and be like, hey, they've made more annual passes. So it's that easy to do. But instead they're like, okay, so people's willingness to pay is here, but let's just keep charging more. Let's date how many we have. And oh, sorry guys, we're sold out. So it's like, it is guaranteed revenue because people will buy the annual pass. But if there's no reason for an annual pass to ever be sold out, because they can just, hey, computer guys, let's make like 100 more. So there's no reason for it ever to be sold out. That's ridiculous.
I forgot what I was going to ask you. I had a thought about something. Yeah, I totally lost my. I think I was going to ask you about you're someone that travels a lot. So do you know where the price break is? Do you know like the number of races one has to do to make it work?
It really kind of depends. Like, I know enough of the pro team members that they're obviously getting race codes from their like podiums, and they're not using those race codes because they get a free annual pass from being on the pro team. So they're selling those codes for cash. So you can get a code for like, let's just say $50 to $65, depending on who's selling it. And so if you do that, if you do like 12 races, it's still cheaper than getting an annual pass. That's about what I do per year, like 12 to 15. I could do that and save like some money. So, but
so wait a minute. So the pro team members, you get a free race every time you win a race?
Every time you get a podium, or I'm not sure, like it kind of depends on the contract that you have. I know you get podiums. If you get podiums, you get a free race code.
If you are, if you're a pro team racer, shouldn't you? I feel like you pro team racers should get free races. That's part of the deal. Like, you show up and hopefully you'll win some money. And if not, you're just doing it for the sport by always posting and, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. I mean, but they're getting like some pretty good perks out of it. I mean, why not race? Why race if you're not going to get any perks out of it?
So wait, I'm sorry to cut you off. You did the whole series this year, right?
Yep.
And did you did elite or age group? Which did you do?
I did elite for the U.S. National Series.
Okay. And where did you finish? What number are you? Do you know?
I was 36th or 37th overall, and I'm not that good of an athlete. I'm really not.
Out of how many do you think did it?
Out of how many did the entire or enough of the series? I would say you're probably looking at about like 70 or 80.
Did you have more? Hang on a second. I just got a random email, and I never open emails while I'm talking. I'm sorry, but I just got a random Uber email. That was really weird. Maybe somebody hacked my account. Did you have more or less points than VJ, who only raced twice?
Oh God, I think I had more, just barely. Oh, I mean, I had some. I mean, you saw like my worst race was when you recorded that spear throw at Seattle. Like, that was my hands down my worst race ever. And just, I mean, I improved after that. I was like, that's why it's a joke. Like, it was an absolute joke qualifying for Tahoe in elite this year in the U.S. National Series. I went to 4 of the 5 races, did shitty in 2, decent in 2 more, and I was a lock to get my spot in Lake Tahoe.
So wait, this was last year?
No, this year.
I thought you did all 5. What'd you skip?
Well, I skipped Alabama because work obligations, and also who wants to go to Alabama?
Oh yeah, we did talk about this. Yeah. What are you going to feed her now?
A banana.
What a good dad.
Trying to. She ate like shit yesterday, so.
Okay, speaking of which, can we talk about BroCR Eats?
Yeah. Yes, by all means, let's talk about BroCR Eats.
I mean, listen, I'm all one for good content, and there was 3 in a 3-part series. I watched all 3, so.
I mean, I liked the idea, and I was like, why is Spartan getting into this? Like, this is but at the same time, like, I'm traveling a lot for races. Sometimes I'm like not always yelping where I should probably eat. And in West Virginia, I mean, do you really want to trust some of these burger places?
Had you not ever been to a Bob Evans? You are from the Midwest. I thought that's where they are.
No, that's totally a joke. I'm very familiar with Bob Evans. I actually drove right by the original Bob Evans farm to get to West Virginia. So I was like, oh. And then when I saw Kevin Donahue and Ryan Kent doing the Spartan Eats thing, I was like, oh, well, I can make fun of this. This is
Right.
easy.
Right.
So I was like, oh, this local place that I've never heard of, Bob Evans. And then I actually went to the Secret Sandwich Society, and I had this much bigger idea for the Bro Series, the finale to it,
Right.
for this go around. And I talked with the owner, and I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to do this. He's like, I thought we already did this with Spartan. I was like, yeah, well, we make fun of Spartan. So that's the point. I'm like, we're the Daily Show. We like to make fun of them. This is just what we do. He's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I was like, okay, then that's fine. Like, if someone doesn't want to do it, I'm not going to make them. So I was like, I'd already kind of recorded that first intro. Then I was like, well, I'm already here. I may as well just have some food. And I was like, this is really, really fucking good food. Like, it was really good.
Right.
You can't have my headphones. You can't have them.
Daddy's drawing a line. Daddy's drawing a line.
Eat your banana. I'll give it to you later. Okay. She knows that if she whines long enough, she's going to get what she wants.
Well, of course. That's how it works. I think your mistake was telling the guy you were going to make fun of Spartan. You should have just said, hey, man, can we do something just kind of fun?
It should have been like, hey, yeah, actually, the video didn't work out. I have to reshoot this.
Right. What does he know?
Exactly. But he's like, well, we're working on this other location. I pitched him the idea of what we were going to do. And he's like, no, we're good. We're good. I was like, okay. I mean, like, I thought it was funny, but I get it.
What are you going to do? Sometimes people say some people don't want to be part of the magic.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's like to each their own. We've been turned down before from people that we wanted to get interviews for. I'm like, hey, that's fine. No big deal. Move along.
When I go for runs, it's not uncommon to find someone shooting like some glamour shot wedding thing, and I'll like hey, can I take a picture? And a lot of times they're cool with it. A lot of times they're like, yeah, no, get out of here, sweaty person.
Let me photobomb your wedding photos.
Well, because it's fun if you're cool, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
If you're cool, it's totally because then when people are flipping through your photos or looking through on Facebook and they see this one with a guy like in the middle with a backpack on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I just go with it. But I mean, not everyone has that kind of sense of humor. And I thought he kind of did, but then he just didn't. And I was like, okay, no big deal.
So do your really boring government workers know that you're like this wild man on the weekends?
I've hung up every major medal that I've ever earned or received in my desk. So whenever they're like, oh, well, you clearly have an obsession. I was like, oh, this is to show you all the thousands of dollars that I've spent on this hobby.
Are you
really impressed?
Are you an enthusiast?
I'm an enthusiast. Like, even on like everything, I'm like, I'm not a pro, I'm not semi-pro. I'm like a serious enthusiast over the sport because it keeps me healthy. It keeps me, motivated, and I get to meet and chat with some amazing people in the community. Like, OCR athletes really are the fittest people in the world. I believe that. Like, it's not CrossFit. I think that it's OCR.
Well, I mean, if you want to know the people who can do the most handstand walks, it's CrossFit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. that can sometimes knock people out of rounds.
Right?
Yeah.
If you want to be the best handstand walker, the best toes to rings, then that's your sport.
One year they have like a softball throw.
No.
I feel like one year they did. I feel like that was one of the CrossFit Games competitions, and it like knocked out half the guys that had no mobility whatsoever, just all shoulders to head. There's no neck there.
What shirt is that you've got on?
No, it's like a trail racing series championship from last year.
Were you the champion?
I was 5th place. The year before, I'd won the overall series.
Because I was going to say your shirt does in fact say champion.
It should say champion in quotation marks. Like you were the 5th best. This year I was 4th best.
Well, you are there in the Midwest, right?
Yes.
And so what's like the short, like how many, I don't know, I know there's an Indiana race. I know there's a Milwaukee race. Like how many races do you not have to travel more than a couple of hours for?
I actually am going to do, so the week after Tahoe, like not just Ocean City, Maryland, there's a race in Attica, Indiana. It's an hour away from my house. That is the closest Spartan has ever come to my house. I couldn't go last year because it was my daughter's birthday. So obviously priorities, but so I can either do Attica, an hour away. I can do the Indy race, which is now Cincinnati. It's like 20 minutes outside of Cincinnati. Makes no
Right.
sense. Chicago,
There's a lot of
which is
quotes going on.
yeah, it's Chicago and it's really Wisconsin. So it's right there at the state line. That is like a 4.5 hour drive. So I really like, this is the closest one. So I'll actually get to like wake up in my own bed at like 4 o'clock and then drive out to the race. And I won't be podium poaching elite. I'll be podium poaching age group out there.
Okay.
That's how sad it's my existence is. I'm going to go poach.
Well, listen, if you're top 30 pro, I'd give you a legit age group thing. If you're a top 30-ish pro, that's not horrible. I mean, you're very, very far behind the winners, but you're still ahead of most.
I think my new threshold has been like, I haven't really done small races this year, except it was surprisingly small. In Chicago, I actually, and I'm coining this term, I don't think a lot of people use it. Like, whenever I do run age group, I obviously catch the elite females. I call it dicking them.
Right. Sure.
It's horrible. It's so bad.
It's the opposite of chicking.
It's the opposite of chicking. And I know that there are some females who are like, oh, this guy caught me, damn it.
Right.
Like whenever they're running the elite wave. Yeah, but I caught up to almost everyone in Chicago except for the first place female. And so like whenever I do the US National Series, I'm like, okay, did Lindsay pass me at mile 5 or at mile 7 or at mile 3? Because that kind of lets me know like what kind of day I'm having.
Right, so, where your fitness is.
Big she caught me at mile 4. So normally, like if the podium's catching me like right in this has been an amazing day. If they're catching me like 4 or 5 miles into a super on the mountains, like this is going to be a long day.
Do you think Mud Guts and Glory is coming back?
That would be so nice. I miss that venue like so bad. Like the water slide alone is like reason to reopen that.
Maybe we can get Spartan to go there.
I mean, they really should. If they're really going to like go down to like a 5K and the super is going to be like 6.2 miles, Mud Guts and Gore can absolutely cover both of those distances.
All right, dude, it's 7 o'clock. I have to put this up, so we should get to our families.
Yes, we should. I'll get back to single parenting my daughter instead of letting her just destroy the house.
All right. I will see you in Tahoe, my friend.
Yes, you will, sir, at the trail race.
Are you definitely doing it?
It's at 2. It's 2:30 p.m.
On Saturday.
On Saturday, 2:30 p.m. on Saturday.
So you're going to
poaching it again.
So you're going to run it and then go to sleep and then run the next day.
I will mildly jog the world championship.
Okay. I was going to say, you don't want to, you're going to go all out on that hill.
Dude, I know like after running West Virginia, I'm not that competitive in age group. Like I just can't handle the beast distance. So I may as well just go have fun on Sunday and like try to walk away with a little bit of cash on Saturday. Just a little bit.
All right. Well, I assume there's not going to be a lot of people. If there's as few as did the one you just did, I might sign up for elite. But if not, I'm just going to do age group.
You should just do it anyways. Just make yourself like a contender right there. Just do it, Matt.
All right, dude. I'll think about it. All right, man. Have a good night.
All right.